starting. There we go. There we go. All right. Now let's turn on the iPad. Baby. Come on. Wakey wakey. There it is. Okay, so now let's get in here. Oh, you know what? We better turn this guy down or we're going to have... We don't need double me. Definitely don't need double me in volume here. All right. Anthony and Michelle Smith is watching me. Hello, hello, everybody. Trying to get started right at 10:30, but my computer decided it wanted to go thinking. Oh, okay, now we'll let you go live. So, you know. Fun stuff. So, today is the day that we're going to be doing the woodcraft using UV resin and glitter and the solid wood pieces that have the cutouts on the front, like so, and a solid back on them. You can do them, you can do them if they don't have a solid back, but you have to have something on the back of it as a solid back. I know some people use the UV resin tape. Some people use like an acetate sheet and adhere it to there with 2-part epoxy and things like that. So it can be done if you don't have a solid back, but unless you're really good with using the other two ways, I recommend just getting a solid back. You don't have to worry about it. So, but this is the one this is the one I created the other day for y'all to see what we were doing. And then these are the ones that I have today. This one came from Hobby Lobby. Let's see. These two, I think it was just these two, came from Walmart. No, backwards. These two, my bad, I'm trying. These two came from Walmart, and then these two came from the Dollar Tree. So, kind of a mixture of places that I got stuff from for today. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Whenever you hop on, there's Mama. When you hop on, if you're going to stay on and craft with me, say hello, and let me know you're here. And we will give everybody a minute to hop on, and then we will get started. You will need your wood cutouts. I'm going to be using some paint. I have my black chalk paint, what I have here that I have left in black. And then I have my other acrylic paints here. You can use chalk paint, you can use acrylic paint, you can use matte, you can use glossy. It's just kind of up to you as far as what you have. If you're going to seal it, it's going to make the whole thing glossy like this one is anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I used UV resin over the whole thing of that one to seal it. You can use UV resin. You can use, if you have like a fast set 2-part epoxy, you could use that. You just have to be very careful not to let it run off the edges. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing today. I have some other little tools with me. I have these little pipette things. I have some little mixing cups. These I like because they have a spout on them. Try to see if maybe y'all can see the spout on the edge there. But I like these because they have the little pour spout on them. You can get like a whole bunch of these on Amazon for really pretty cheap. And then I have just some popsicle sticks. That way I can just toss them when I'm done. I don't really...
You get like, what, 100 for like $1 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can buy like a pack of 100, 150, something like that at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. So they just go in the trash when I'm done. I don't really try to use anything really silicone other than my silicone mat that I'm working on for this. I don't really try to reuse a bunch of stuff or save a bunch of stuff from these. So that's just kind of my personal preference. You're free to use whatever you prefer. But that's what I'm going to be using for today. Got something on that one. There we go. And then, of course, just paint brushes. I have paint pens. I have a black and a white one today. I have my little Good Mom water basin for my brushes, so I don't ruin any of my brushes. Those I do reuse, but it's just for painting. So, alright, we've got 3 on here. I'm betting that's probably, where is it? There they are.
It's probably me, Michelle Smith, and
then Mama. Alright, well we're going to go ahead and get started. today's live really shouldn't take real long. I'll probably go through at least one, of course, but I might go through a couple of these today, depending on time-wise that we've got and how everybody's doing. I think I'm just going to kind of start with a smaller one, so I think I'll probably start with the small butterfly. Like I said, the process is going to be the same no matter how big or small. It's just going to depend on how much UV resin you need for that one. So I think I'm going to start with the small butterfly. Put these to the side over here right now. So, I'm kind of get things moved around and out of the way for a minute. Don't need our UV resin just yet. So I'm going to start with probably this brush. I think this one's going to be way too big for this. So, bring my water basin over here, bring my paint over here. Whoop! Got things rolling away. I don't know why it's being so weird today. There we go. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. Anthony's in here with me again today, of course, so he'll let me know if I miss something. My iPad's being a little strange today. So, we're going to start by painting our raised wood piece. You don't need to paint these inside little cavities because you're going to be filling them with the UV resin and glitter. If you fill them and you make them black, it's going to affect the color of your glitter if you're using a glitter that's not so like metallic and the word is leaving me, but a lot of your light colors, like your yellow, the light pink that I use, things like that, you'll actually be able to see through them. They're a little more transparent. So we want to not paint the cavities. We want to just paint the top layer. So we'll go ahead and get started by doing that. Dip in my brush here. And we're just going to paint, like I said, just the just this part that's raised. And I kind of just start like you saw me with a little dab on my paintbrush, not a whole lot. And I kind of just start in one spot in the like the middle of a section and then just kind of work it out from there. I try not to like brush from my openings in. I try to go from the center out so that way it doesn't gunk up a bunch of paint inside my opening either. So just kind of a helpful tidbit. My brush slipped and I got some on the inside of my little butterfly opening, but that's okay. It's not a huge amount. And to me, this is the most tedious part of this, is getting the paint on and not getting the paint in all the little spots. So. I'm just going to carefully go around the outside, or the raised part, just around that whole top area. And you see me kind of switching back and forth the directions I'm going in, only because, like I said, we don't want a bunch of paint from our brush coming off and going in our cavities. Get me a little more paint, kind of go in the middle, work our way out. And you can use the 2-part epoxy. I would recommend using a fast set. I would not recommend using the regular 2-part epoxy. That's going to take like 8 hours to set. Because if you have any areas that the wood is not really good and glued to the backing, it could like start to seep out from underneath and then it would just be a mess. So to fill the cavities, I recommend using UV resin. Today I'm going to be using glitter, which we'll pick them out in a minute. I have my whole glitter wall behind me that y'all can see. You could also use micas in this. You could use anything really. You could use foils. A lot of people mix foil flakes in with their epoxy or their resin and then put it in. So it's just kind of up to you what you want to use in your resin. But today I will be using just glitter. And I I don't like to use the chunky glitter in these because if you're using the chunky glitter, especially in some of these like smaller cavities, it's gonna be real hard to get all those pieces of glitter in there and laying flat to where you don't have a bunch of sticking up pieces and just like randomly weird laying pieces. So that's kind of what I recommend. But of course, like I said, you feel free to experiment with what you want to try. I'm just going to teach y'all the basis of how to do them, and then you can experiment with what you want to do. These little pieces are kind of hard to really get in here. And when you're using an acrylic paint or a chalk paint, it dries pretty fast, which is nice. You can use a blow dryer to speed up the drying process. I try not to paint it so thick where I'm going to have to do that, because if you do that, you can really make your paint crack. And it just doesn't look pretty, or you have to repaint it, which is going to take more time anyway. So I just recommend a chalk paint or an acrylic paint. I've got hot, turn on the fan. Almost done with the painting portion. I know I probably paint a little bit faster than some of you if you're trying to follow along. After I get mine painted, I will give y'all a couple of minutes to get caught up on your painting, and then we'll move to the next step. I hope everybody had a good week. I know Linnell has been traveling for work the last couple of weeks. I believe she flies home today. Sure, she's looking forward to getting home. I know my mom, which is Betty, I know they've had a busy week. And poor Michelle Smith, her goal for this week was just to make it through the week. So I hope she made it through the week. I know it's sometimes can get very crazy, especially in the summer. You have kids at home. I know that's a whole nother stressor. So and if you're not following along and crafting with me, let me know if you have any questions as we go along still. And also if you could just let me know. I made it, but just barely. Understand those weeks. Whew. Do I ever. Do I ever. So, there we go. And I will also, I go through and I paint my edges. Like that. Oh. And then I paint the back also. You don't have to paint the back, and you don't even have to paint the edges. That's kind of up to you. But if you're going to have it hanging or displayed somewhere where you would be able to see really the whole, you know, the whole 360 of it, I would recommend painting the back just so it's seamless and doesn't stick out whenever it's turned. But again, totally up to you. You do you. I am not here to say you have to do it this way. I don't do well in those situations, so I'm not doing that to my people. So, but I recommend it. if it's going to be shown in the 360. But like I said, if you want to, cool, that's cool too. I'm gonna get this outside edge here painted right quick, and then while this is drying, I'm actually gonna get my glitters picked out for what I'm gonna use for this one. That way y'all can kind of catch up. If you're crafting along with me, if you could please let me know that you're crafting along, so that I know who to wait for before I move to next steps. Don't like leaving people behind, but last week's kind of took a bit. I know we had some technical difficulties with the Cricut. I know they just shut it down for maintenance, so I'm kind of nervous to open it up. I haven't opened it since they shut it down for like 2, 3, 4 hours the other night. I know my mom, right before here, she called me and said that hers won't open today, so fun stuff. Glad today's class was not the Cricut class.
Right. That would have been awful.
Might have been a nightmare. Now I can see I'm just kind of dipping my brush. You're just watching. Very cool. No problem with that. Kind of got a little over the edges, but I'm just dipping my brush in the paint a little bit at a time and just going over the edges, kind of flat brush, to get it in there. You don't want a whole lot of paint on your brush because you don't want it globbing over your edges. Hello, Mama. I know Mom's crafting along with me. She's been excited to kind of having a hard time finding where to hold this now.
It's always the hard part.
She's been having fun getting ready and getting all of her glitters and all that stuff ready, so let's see here. Kind of hold here for a sec. And it doesn't have to be black either. I do the black just because it makes it stand out, makes it look like a stained glass, so it makes the black look like the, the metal part that they melt in the middle. I don't know all the lingo to the stained glass. I just like the way they look. They're really pretty. So I just kind of paint it black. You could paint it silver. You could paint it whatever color you want to, honestly. My mom has a son, and we were talking about the sun the other day. It's got a little face. And so I was like, I think it would be pretty to paint the sun, the top layer of the sun, like a darker orange, and then do the yellow glitter inside the little openings.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's how she's gonna do hers. If y'all do these, either with me or later, share what you did. I wanna see it. It makes me feel good that y'all are learning, and it makes me happy to see what y'all are creating. Try to come up with different things to teach and different methods and things like that, just to give everyone maybe a different idea, a different starting point. So it makes me feel good whenever y'all are resonating with what I'm teaching and are liking, the projects and doing them and things like that. So if you decide to do it, please share. It would make me very happy. These little pieces are the hardest to get into. The back may not look too pretty when I'm getting done with these little pieces, but at least they'll be painted. There we go. Make sure I got all my edges. I got all my tops. Ooh, just trying to get in that edge. It kind of clumped up right there. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna lay that flat. I'm gonna put my brush. Be a good brush mom. Put my brush in my paint water. I'm even gonna close my paint. Don't want that to dry up. Set that to the side. Nice thing about acrylic and chalk paint is it washes off your hands easily. Don't get it on your clothes. It doesn't come out so nicely on that. So I'm gonna wash this off before I even have a chance to touch my clothes. I don't want to make a mess everywhere. This is my crafting shirt for going live with y'all. I have 2 of them, but I don't want to have paint and stuff all over it. My camera, what? What happened? Oh, my background moved my camera. Nope, don't do that. Move the background.
Oh, I thought it had that background selected.
There you go. Had the black stripe on the side. I have to resave the PNG for the background every time or every week when we do a new header. And I try to get it sized back like it should be. Sometimes I don't see the little black stripe down the side until it's on camera or on live and y'all see it.
It wasn't that far off. I just noticed it. And yeah, it was gonna drive me crazy.
And you're probably the only one that noticed it, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
That's okay though. You're like your mama. Alright, so let's see. Last time I went pink, yellow, purple. Today
You do like some oranges and lime.
the orange and black. Let's see. Creamsicle is a pretty one.
Because I was like orange.
Orange, orange and black.
Oh, but that's boring.
Let's see, what other color? It's a bright green and a bright orange.
Maybe like a pastel pink. I feel like we need a different color. That might actually look good.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that'll work. So we got Creamsicle by Starcraft, we've got Ectoplasm by the Glitter Guy, and Pinkle by the Glitter Guy. I think we'll roll with that.
Yeah.
Table's still wet, and that glitter apparently had glitter in the lid because it just leaked on the table, but that's okay. Not a problem. That's why we use a big old silicone mat. I love these silicone mats. I actually have 2 that are larger than this. They are 4 foot by 3 foot that I have on the floor in front of where I have all my cup turners. So that way it doesn't mess up my floor and I can just pop the epoxy right off the silicone mat if it falls on the floor.
Forgot about those.
Yeah,
Those
they're
are quite
nice.
big.
Yeah, they are. I like them. All right, if you're following along with me, let me know how it's going and if you have your base painted and if it is dry enough to move forward. Mine has some buildup on the back. Let's see. This is just a paper towel that I just dried that off with. So we're just gonna dry off the back a little bit where it doesn't make a mess all over our table. There we go. So, if you're following along and crafting with me, let me know. If you are ready, and then we'll get started. Yeah, that green is like, I don't know. We'll open this over the trash can right quick, see what's going on here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be why.
It has probably gotten dropped along the way at some point when we were moving into the craft room in here or something, but yeah, it had all kinds of glitter in the little twisty part of the, of the bottle. Green is getting everywhere.
Well, it's living up to its name.
Ectoplasm.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. All right. started. Oh, there we go.
Oh, they're like little stacks.
Yeah, it's like a little stack of them. Whenever you get them, it's like a whole tall stack of like, I think there's like 10 little cups, and then they're all just stacked on top of each other.
Very cool.
I think I got, I think it's like 200 of them.
Oh wow.
200-300 of them on Amazon, and that's how they came, just one long tube stacked. But yeah, I like these too because like they have a little handle, so it's easy to pull them apart, and they have the spout, so it's easier to pour. So
Very cool.
yeah, I really like these.
Reminds me a lot of those. A lot of the times the derby racer guys, especially if they're in mud, they have like this huge like stack of like film on their visor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just mud. They just rip it off. Mud
New
again.
one.
Rip it off again.
New visor, let's go. Yeah.
I'm still painting. I have 2 different colors, almost finished.
Okay.
What Manny says.
All right, Mama. I'll give you another minute, and then we'll move on. And while that's drying, we can be mixing our UV resin and our glitters. So, actually set this to the side. So that way we don't have anything accidentally get knocked over.
Yeah. That'll be a little hard to clean.
Yeah. We kind of make a mess everywhere on our table, and we don't want that. No mess, no mess. And I am using, I have this big UV light here. This one came from Amazon. I really like it because it's a switch that you turn on, and so it just stays on until you turn it off. And also they make the stands for them. This one is the tall legs. They have short legs too. This one came from Tumbler Shields. They were the first ones that came out with it. But I know other companies now have started making the stands for these UV lights because a lot of crafters use them. So
Just let me know when you need it on alternate.
Okay.
So you're not having to reach over.
yeah, that works. I'll just scoot that back a little bit more until I'm ready for it.
Bring this over here.
So yeah, next week is our Craft Together Zoom.
Woo.
So I have sent that link out to anybody that was already part of my community here prior to the extra signups that we had that opened in June or the beginning of this month. If you didn't get it, let me know. I will be resending out another email, and I'll probably post the link in our group as well. It may be today. That way, if you want to join along with us, you can sign into Zoom and click on the link and join us, and we can all just craft together. It'll be like a big old crop that I used to do in the past whenever I did a bunch of scrapbooking. It'll just be virtually, so just something that'll be fun for us to kind of get to know each other, finishing up on projects that we have. Yeah, chill out, hang out, whatever. So I think it's going to be fun. I'm hoping everybody enjoys it. And then the next weekend, the 28th, 29th, 30th weekend, that's the Saturday that I have a conference that I'm doing, so I won't be doing live. But I'm either going to I'll either have something pre-recorded. I've got some things that I brought with me today that I'm gonna work on recording this afternoon if I can make it happen with other stuff I've got going on here at work. If not, if y'all haven't done the foam board popsicle with Christy's Craft Room, that would also be a great thing to do. And you know, she's got the video of how she's done it. Her template is free, and you can paint it, I mean, any way that you want, really. You don't have to do it the red, white, and blue that she did. You don't even have to put the star on it like she did if you don't want it 4th of July themed. You could do polka dots in different colors all over it. You could do watermelon. You could do beehive, and like even have like the honey coming down from the top. You know, however you want to paint it would be totally cool. So if I don't get a live recorded, edited, and ready to post for that Saturday, I would recommend doing that because, like I said, she's super sweet. Her and her husband are very, very sweet people. And they do a lot of like videos and stuff. They have a bunch of wood kits and things that they offer, and she creates all of her own designs as well, much like I do for my cups. So if y'all don't have anything on that weekend, if I'm not able to get a video recorded and edited and saved and ready to post and all that fun stuff, I recommend doing that on that Saturday. It kind of worked out being that Saturday because this month we have 5 weeks, but that'll give everybody something to kind of focus on. So, alright, Mama, how is it going? Are you ready? Alright. And I will say, I think I did say, yes. Glitter's either medium or fine, unless you really want to fight with the chunks. I don't want to fight with chunks. So, I like using medium and fine. Ready. Awesome. Okay. So, as far as how much UV resin you want to use, it kind of depends on how big your cavities are. For this one, I believe I did, and I didn't have these up here at the time. These were at home. Let's see. I think it was like 10 mLs. This is the cup that I used that day.
Say that such a
I don't know, 10 mLs is pretty high. Actually, I think I went more like 5 mLs to 7.5, I think is even big. I think I did 5 mLs that day, and I had 3 different colors. Are you doing TumblerCon? I am. I am doing TumblerCon that weekend. My sister and I bought our kits when the tickets first went on sale, and so yes, I am. I'm caught. That is my conference. Yes. We are taking the class with Rachel from Mr. Nola's Glitter, so we are doing that weekend, and then my sister-in-law, which is also a member here. Very cool. Whose class are you taking, Michelle?
Oh, hey.
My sister-in-law and I, because my sister-in-law has epilepsy, so she has seizures and things. So actually going to TumblerCon isn't an option, and of course at the time we didn't know TumblerCon was going to go all virtual. But she actually wanted to do the virtual option. That's the 2 days in July. So that weekend in July, her and I will be here. She's coming actually to Lubbock. She lives in Dumas. So she's coming to Lubbock, and we're going to be doing the 2-day virtual with her. Nicole Sutherland. Oh, she's a sweetheart. I love her. She's a sweetheart. How many days is Nicole's class? I'm trying to remember how many days everybody's classes were. There were so many classes to choose from. You're doing the one in July too. Very cool. The class is 3 days. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember if hers was a 3-day because I know they had like 3-day VIPs, and then they had some that were like just 1 days, and then you could like stack the 1 days, and it was kind of all over the place. But very cool. Sweet. So that's cool. All right. We're going to get started. I'm just kind of guesstimate because this one obviously has my markings on it. These don't. That's the only downfall I find with these is these don't have the measurements on them for the markings. So just going to kind of eyeball it. For this one, I had the 3 different colors, and I used 5 mLs for each color. This one obviously is not going to take that much. So I'm not going to use a whole lot. But 5 mLs is what I used for that one there. The main thing on this is to just get the right consistency of, this bottle is almost empty, so it is kind of hard to squeeze. Getting the right consistency of UV resin and glitter, because you don't want it like so thick that it's like a mudding, kind of like goopy consistency. We don't want it really thick like a paste. So, I'm going to put that to the side. I just have a little bit in here, and it's better to start with, I'm going to open this over here actually, over the trash can just in case. It's better to start with just a little bit because you can add a little more glitter if you need to. Obviously, you can't take out the glitter. And if you get too much glitter, then you just have to add more resin. And yeah, so we're just going to start with a little. Mix it up and then see how it goes. So there's my little bit that I made. Mix this up. As you can see, it still runs off my popsicle stick. We don't want it to where it just sticks, okay? We don't want it to just be a glob. We want it to have some liquidiness to it. If we have to, we can mix up some more. I just don't want to overmix. I don't know that I plan on using these colors in another wood piece, but we'll see. I don't know why this bottle leaks too. That's so weird. You can see it just run down the... Oh well, I'm glad this one's almost empty because this one's kind of cranky.
Michelle Smith said, I would love to go to one of the in-person retreats sometimes too.
Yeah, I think that would have been fun too. And when they called and offered that option, but it cost like $150 more or something, I was like, no, I'm okay. But they look like they had a lot of fun, so that's cool. I enjoy going live and going in person. I've been to last year's and the year before in person, and this year was the first year my sister could actually afford to get a ticket. She lives in Mesquite, Linnell does, and this is the first year she was able to afford to get a ticket, and we were looking forward to going together, and it went virtual, so I'm like, well, I'm sorry, sis. Yeah, that looks good. And from what they posted the other day, I don't know if they're doing one next year, which makes me sad. Usually if I need a lot of UV resin, I just take this top off and pour it out, but I don't want to pour out too much. So, alright, let me grab a paper towel. I'll wipe this off. There we go. Now we'll put that lid back on. Set that over there. Alright, so we did our orange, we did our green. Now let's do our pink.
Michelle Smith said, dang, I must have missed that post. Was it in the TumblrCon group?
It was in the TumblrCon ticket holder 2024 group. Nikki posted it earlier last week, and it was in the post where she was talking about people posting some very not nice things about the bags they're getting. Apparently some people are not happy with the boxes that they got, or our supply bags. And she put in there that was the reason that there might not be a TumblrCon 2025. So
I don't see how people weren't happy. There was a lot of stuff in there.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And some of the people that were griping, like, I know a couple of them were like the one-day class where they were literally making like 1 or 2 cups, and they were like so upset that they just got a little bit of stuff. I'm like,
but you only did 1 day.
but you only chose a one-day class, and it was only just like 1 or 2 cups. You're not going to get the VIP supply box that we got because we paid a lot more than what the one-day class cost. So you're not going to have as much as what we did. I mean, so
that's so dumb.
yeah, it's crazy. Some people are like really trashing, and some of the VIP people, because like one lady was like, I spent $900 on this box, and then I get it, and it's not even $1,000 or $900 worth of stuff, and looks like a bunch of leftovers y'all just threw in boxes, and I was like, oh my gosh, people. But even so, like, because the VIP tickets, they actually refunded part of our ticket because we weren't doing it in person, so they didn't have to pay for the building and all that kind of stuff. But people can be so mean behind a keyboard.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's sad. Alright, I've got my glitters mixed in my UV resin. Some people will never be satisfied no matter what. Absolutely.
That is very true.
I have definitely found that out in my life, especially over these last 2 to 3 years.
Especially running a business.
Yeah. Yeah, running this business even here, we've discontinued some products and things like that, and we put them on clearance, and we're trying to get rid of them, and people are like, well, if you're not going to have it, shouldn't the percentage be higher? Well, why can't you put everything on sale? Well, why? And I'm like, oh gosh. So yeah, some people you can never make happy no matter what. You can give them their every wish, and they'll still find a reason to not be happy.
Oh yeah.
And that's why in this group I'm like, no, there's plenty of people out there that do that. I'm not going to have that mess in my group.
None of that.
Nope. So, alright. So from this point what you do is just carefully put your UV resin with your glitter into the cavities. Let's see. I'm going to kind of plan out a little bit here. So, I think I'm going to do... orange, pink, or should I do orange? I think I'm going to do my orange in this top one here. And with the butterflies, I kind of like to have them cohesive across the butterfly, because typically your butterflies are the same on both sides. Or pretty close to the same on both sides. So I just take and I get some on my popsicle stick. If you have the little spout on this cup, you're more than welcome to use the little spout to pour some out. Just kind of keep a control on it. Whenever I do that, let me smooth this one out and I'll show you how I do it. But I always keep my popsicle stick close to the spout of this little guy. Hoping y'all can kind of see. But I'll kind of push it to the edge and I'll start letting it flow out. But I always take and I leave my popsicle stick pretty close. That way, when it's pouring out and you need to stop it, you can just take your popsicle stick and stop the pour. So I'll kind of pour it in. Probably gonna have to mix up some more orange, but I was afraid of getting too much, but that's okay. So when you're ready to stop it, like I take my popsicle stick and just kind of grab what's falling down and put it back in the cup. That way you can stop the flow of that and not make a mess or get that stringy line across your project or something like that. So I'm going to take a little bit on my popsicle stick here. And I'm going to fill the hole down here on both sides. Okay, and let's see. Don't really have much left, so this one needs a little bit more. I'll add some more to that one. Add a little more to this one. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to my next color, and then we'll see. I may not end up needing any more orange mix. Just depends on how I place these other colors. So, mix it up. The good thing about the UV resin is that it doesn't set until you hit it with the light, which is really nice. You have a lot longer working time. I know that whenever I did the one, because I have done one that didn't have a back, and we used the 2-part epoxy and we used the fast set on it. We only had like 15 minutes working time. Yeah, so you have to be very careful, because then it starts to get hot, and then it can flash cure in your cups and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's the nice thing about using the UV resin on this.
So question, in a room with no windows or anything, and you just left the UV resin out, still wouldn't cure? Wouldn't dry up, nothing? Oh, that's pretty cool.
I mean, after a while, it may evaporate, start to kind of dry out, just the liquid in it, but cure and harden until it is hit with UV, whether it's a UV light or the sun. But like you said,
Yeah.
it would need to be a room with no windows.
Room with no windows.
And one poor lady I've seen in a group, she forgot she was going to use UV resin on a project, and she had got all of her stuff set up, and she opened her window for the day because it was beautiful outside, and like halfway through trying to pour something, her UV resin started to set because the light was getting to it. She was like, no, I can't believe I did this. I was like, oh, you poor thing. Oh
no.
So yeah, be careful using it around windows. Kind of dropping it in to fill in the holes that I want to fill in. Alright. Pink, 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 pink. I'll probably do pink there. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Alright, I got a little bit left in my cup. That one needs a little more added to it. And the reason why I say it needs a little bit more added to it, if you look at it as it settles, if it looks like it's like really caving in, then add a little bit more of your UV resin, because as the resin cures, it will kind of shrink up too, and you don't want to have like a huge divot that you're trying to fill in with the topping resin. Alright, now for the pink. I like the pinkle because it's like a pink purple. It's got like purple glitter in here too, so it's really cool. It's like a pinky purple. Which is sure, that's why it's called pinkle. Pink, purple, pinkle. But I really like the purple hue that it throws off. I'm a purple person, so if y'all haven't figured that out by my logos and butterflies and everything being purple. Butterflies and purple, two of my favorite things. And I don't think China is watching today, but today is China's birthday. Yeah.
Birthday.
And China, so y'all know in here, China is Cups and More. She doesn't want drama on her Facebook, so she named it something that's nowhere near her name. And China used to take classes in person with me here at the store when we had the space to teach them. So she decided to join us this month. So if y'all see Cups and More saying anything on your post or liking them or whatever, that is China. And she is an amazing lady as well. Just use your popsicle stick, get some on there. I try to let it stop running off, or I kind of scrape it lightly on the side of my cup to make it stop drizzling off the popsicle stick, because I don't want a bunch of crazy lines going across my black painted part. The less cleanup we have, the better. Think I've hopefully got enough. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in these top two circles with the pink so I don't have to mix up anymore. Yeah, I'm going to have just enough, I think. I couldn't have got that any better. Yay! Alright, let's see here. This one's kind of lacking. I'm going to drop a tiny bit more in that. It's kind of looking a little droopy.
Little droopies.
Yeah. We don't want any sad droopies. Alright. So the only spot that I can see that I got a little bit on is this little dot right here, right outside my orange. Carefully raise it to see if y'all can see it, but right there you can kind of see where I got it. You can just take like a piece of paper towel and wipe it off. I don't recommend, this one is not gonna like really jack, well I mean I guess it can if you're allergic to it, but I don't recommend doing it with your finger unless you make sure and really get it off of your finger before you turn this light on, because when we were teaching one of our in-person classes, we had used UV resin over a cup, and I didn't realize that I had a spot on my hand. And when we went out to lunch, because we went to lunch during those days, like it literally was an all-day class. They joined me at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and we left at like 6 o'clock at night. But when we broke for lunch, while our cups were turning for the hour and a half, 2 hours, when we walked outside, I started feeling something burning on my hand, and I didn't even realize what had happened until we got to the restaurant we were eating at, and we sat down. I was like, what is going on? And I looked. I actually had a drop of UV resin on my hand, and it was curing on my skin, and oh my gosh, let me tell you, it burned, and it took a while to heal. So make sure that you have everything off of your skin before you turn that light on, because that was painful. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and just kind of use one of the corners and just carefully wipe that off of there. Here we go. Just like that. Okay. I'm gonna try not to throw these away right this second. I'm gonna try to save my little mixing cups just in case. I'm gonna put them over here at my desk. Stay. There we go. I'm gonna put them on my desk over there, so that way I can block the UV light from getting to them, because if I turn my UV light on and they're right here, it's gonna cure what's left in there. We don't want to do that. So I'm gonna move this over to here. Let's see, I think y'all can still see it, but I'm just gonna slide it underneath here, and then I'm gonna turn on the light. I'm gonna set a timer for 2 minutes. Typically with the light that this light anyway, typically that's a pretty good time. If you have one of the push button lights, I know some people have like the glitter guy ones or the nail ones, where on this one, if you push it twice, it gives you 120 seconds. I will usually do 2 rounds of that with this light, and then kind of test and see if it's cured. All right, Anthony, go ahead and turn it on. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes.
Good morning, Michelle.
Yeah.
2 minutes, starting now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. It has neon colors.
Yeah.
Well, at least the orange and the green.
Yeah, and then the UV light just makes it like
Make it pop.
makes it really bright. So, but I set a timer for 2 minutes. These UV lights are super strong. I know that they say they're like 20 watts. I think is what it says on the back. Yeah, 20 watts on those lights, and the other glitter guy ones that I showed you say that they're 24. But those, I don't know, those don't cure nowhere near as fast as this guy does. So I like having this light, and the stand that they came out with makes it super nice. And I was really happy because this stand I keep taking back from home to here and home to here and home to here, and in my tumbler club bag I got one. So I don't have to keep changing out my stand. So I was happy. All right, Mama, how's it going? Thumbs up. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, once this cures, typically the 2 minutes time is perfect. Once this cures, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to get my white paint pen out, and I'm going to get it ready to do some of the detailing. Like on this one where I did like the lines and the dots kind of mixed together all around. Just because before I added those details, it looked really flat and kind of plain. It didn't really have any type of detailing on it. It was just black. And I know the UV resin would make it shiny, but I was like, I want it to have something more than just be shiny black. So that's whenever I went in and I got my paint pen and added those details. Alexa, stop. All right, so let's kind of pull this out from under the light. over there. Alright. So this is what we've got. I like these colors. They really pop off of that black. It looks really pretty.
Yeah.
Yay! So pretty. So pretty. That is our first one. Alright, Mom. Have you got your UV resin cured? Anybody else? I think my mom is the only one following along with me. If I'm wrong, let me know. If somebody else is following along with me, please, please, please let me know. But I believe that my mom is the only one actually crafting along. Going good. Okay. I'll give you a few more minutes to get your resin set before I start going over how to do the detailing with our paint pen or paint marker. This one is, I think it's just a fine point. It's not an extra fine. I'm pretty sure it's not a medium. I believe this one is what Michaels calls their fine point. But this is just the Craft Smart white paint pen that I got from Michaels. The black one is the same thing. They have, when I bought these, we were doing them with our classes in person, and I believe what they had at the time was a pack of 4. It came with 2 white and 2 black, and I think it was like $2 or $3. It wasn't really expensive. I want to say it was like $2.99 for that pack of 4. So I really like these. They do have the broader points, and I think they even have like a chisel point, but I just get the fine point.
Butterfly under light now. Did you see that?
I did not. Oh, there it went now. Butterfly under light now. Perfect. All right. Shake up my paint pen. And Mom, if you're gonna add paint pen details with yours, go ahead and shake your paint pen up right quick while you're waiting on that light. That way it's good and shook up and ready for us to rock on. Yeah, and I like the purple in this one. It just didn't pop as much as I was hoping. I wish I would have used a brighter purple, but it's still really pretty, so no complaints here. These colors did really pop off the black today.
Yeah, they did. I think you helped with them being neon.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're all pretty bright. Let's see, rainbow iridescent, sparkling iridescent, and I know the creamsicle is one of our StarCraft neons. So they're really bright. Oh, we dropped down a person. Somebody may have had to go. That's okay. I understand. Alright, Mama, we'll give you another minute to get that butterfly cured, and then we will start on our detailing. What happened with what? With what?
Oh, there we go. Phone froze for a second.
Oh, I was like, well, what? I'm good. I'm still okay. My captions froze again for whatever reason.
Yeah, my captions aren't showing up either.
So weird.
Oh, now there they go.
Okay, you can still hear me though, right? Okay, ready. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so with our paint pen, you need to get it started whenever you first buy them, and then I start mine whenever I'm ready to use it again anyway, so I don't want to mark on my purple mat, but you just take and you just push the paint pen down. You can do it on a piece of paper, you can do it on a silicone mat, whatever. It will wipe up, but just get it started where you've got the paint coming out the tip. Okay, I'm going to leave that out because sometimes I have to like refill it as we go. So, for this one, I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did with this one, but maybe not exactly. This one's a lot smaller, but what I like to do is I like to just kind of mix up my dots and my lines. So I literally just take and I just go around the edges and I'll draw a line until I'm happy with it, and then I just dot, dot, dot. I don't try to like circle brush it on or nothing. I literally just tap it with the paint marker. Dot, dot, dot. And that's what makes my dots. So I just kind of go around the edges. Following the curves. And I just turn my butterfly as I go. Not worried about perfection. You can see my paint pen. You can see how whenever I dotted these three, see how they're like super tiny? So I know my paint pen's running out. So you just kind of dab it on, get it started again, and then you can go on. Sometimes these paint pens work better whenever you do it one way or the other, instead of like pulling or pushing, or, you know, so try it a couple of different ways if it doesn't want to work, whichever way you're going. And you don't have to do the lines and dots either. You can do all different lines. You can do a solid line.
You can do Morse code.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. This is just kind of what I like to do. I find myself finishing a lot of my wood projects that I do with Christy's craft room this way. I don't know, I like the detailing that it adds. And then just kind of be conscious when you're meeting back up, kind of be conscious of where you're coming to. Dot, dot, dot. And bring those two together. And then I'm going to kind of go make my little butterfly body right like that. Let's see, do I want to add, I think if I add more it's probably going to be too much, so I'm going to stop right there before I do too much, and then I'm trying to touch it up with black paint and then it's just a mess. we're just going to leave it like it is. So there's my butterfly. Got the UV resin filled in. I've got the outlining done on the paint pen. I'll go ahead and move this guy out of the way. So there's what I've got on this one. So how's it going? Let me know how you're doing. How's your detailing going, Mom? And are you doing detailing? I don't know. Not sure which one you're doing this morning. Thumbs up. All right. this, really the only thing that's left is to seal the top. I will go back and paint my back black, but for video's sake, I'm gonna move to topping it off. But for this, I'm not gonna worry about putting it in a cup. It's gonna be just the UV resin, clear. We're not mixing anything else with it or anything like that. If you wanted to, you could do like an additive mix if you have the additives for the epoxy resin, and add a little sparkle to your whole cover here, to the whole top. Just make sure you don't add too much where it takes away from the glitter you put in the holes. So what I'm doing is I am just going around and I'm going to put UV resin kind of in the center areas of my shape. I don't go all the way to the end because I don't want it running off of the end while I'm pushing the UV resin to the edges of my wood round, or my wood shape here. Okay, we will start with that and see if we need any more. I'm just gonna use a popsicle stick. That's what I've got right here. I don't know what I did with my silicone stir stick. Anyway, I'm gonna use a popsicle stick. It works the same. And you're just gonna take and you're gonna work that resin to the edges. Don't pull too much at a time because it'll start going over the edge, and then you'll have a pool of resin underneath your project, and you don't want that. So I'm literally just kind of taking and pulling some from the center, going out to the edge with my popsicle stick. Carefully turn it around as I work around it here. And the nice thing with your UV resin, or at least with this one that I use the Glitter Guys UV resin. And it will, you know, level back out as you're working around, and where I'm pulling it from the center. As long as you have enough resin, it'll level back out. If you don't have enough, of course, it doesn't have anything to fill up a hole if there's not enough on there. So make sure you have enough UV resin on. Pop a couple little air bubbles. So you just carefully go around the whole thing. Oop. At least where I dropped it, it didn't have any UV resin yet, so I don't have to worry about my stick being all sticky, and I would have gotten a new one if that were the case. So keep going around. And you can kind of see if you have lights and stuff, you can kind of see where you get to the edges. If you miss any of the edges, you should be able to see, if you kind of like maneuver your head a little bit, you'll be able to see where it's more of a matte, like where your black paint is still at, instead of the glossy where you've put UV resin. So you can kind of maneuver and move your head around to see if there's any spots or areas that you've missed. Come back here. And if so, just lightly, carefully drag UV resin to that space. Oop, apparently I stuck my pinky in the UV resin at some point. So, I will get that cleaned off before I turn that light on. Keep going around your edges. And once I get around all the edges, I like to let it set for just about 30 seconds just to make sure that it's all leveled out, that it's all kind of evened itself out before I hit it with that white. So in this case, I'll let it settle while I wash off my pinky so I don't have UV resin cured to my hands. Alright, if you see any big bubbles too, if you see any bubbles in your UV resin, just kind of touch them with your popsicle stick to pop them. Sometimes just where you're kind of pulling in things around, it'll kind of make a little air pocket. And we don't want to have cured air bubbles in our resin. Sometimes you can't get away from the little bitty ones. I'm like, it just kind of is what it is. Ooh, I missed all that little section right there of that curve. Look around. Alright. I think that's got that pretty good. I kind of set this clear one over here with my other cups. I'm gonna wash off my hand while I'm letting that level out, and then we will cure it. Make sure I get all that washed off. And then we're gonna go ahead and wipe it off my mat. I would be able to wipe it off after it cured as well, but just so we know we don't make another mess or stick our hand back in it or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off. There we go.
Nothing else on the hands?
Nope. Hands are good.
Whatever.
Grab a paper towel. Dry off my hands. Getting to the bottom of those wipes, and so they're like saturated. And then once you've got that done and it's all nice and settled and it's leveled out, get it put back under your light and let it cure again for another 2 minutes if you have the big one, or 2 rounds of 120 if you have the smaller lights. Let's see here. Carefully, carefully, carefully. Carefully maneuver that guy and not stick our hand in the resin. Alright, turn her on. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
Well, that shows really weird on the camera.
Yeah, it looks really strange in the camera. So pretty. And no matter what shape you're doing, like I said earlier, it's the same process. To do whatever shape you want to do. Just pick your colors, be creative, do your outlines. If you don't want outlines, that's cool too. I mean, I want y'all to make stuff that you like. I'm just showing you the techniques and you can apply it in your own way. I'm not one of those that's gonna be like, oh, you didn't do it the way I told you to do it. So what? You do it the way that you do it best. The way that feels comfortable to you. Yeah, this one's so pretty.
it looks really cool under the light.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like black light, neon, glow in the dark, whatever. It's like really popping under the light. Give it a couple of minutes. Alexa, stop. See what we got here. Oh no, what did it do?
What happened?
I'm not sure, actually. It has a weird, there's a weird bubble right there. I must not have caught something, but it'll be okay. There it is. I don't know what happened right there. It had a bubble that I guess I didn't see, but anyway, it'll be okay. But there she be. So pretty. It's all nice and cured. You can turn that light off, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's all nice and cured and nice and shiny. And all you'd have to do, like I said, I'm going to paint my back. For sake of time on the video, I didn't paint my back because it has to dry and all that fun stuff. But I am going to paint my back, and then I'll probably do like a string or something on the back of it to hang it. These bigger ones that I got from Hobby Lobby comes with the string, and it already has the hole for the string. So you can just put the string back in and hang it up. I actually took that string and untied it, took it out while I did all of this fun stuff, and then I just looped it back through and tied it. But I will end up making attaching a string to the back of this one so that I can hang it after I paint the back and let it dry. But otherwise, I mean, if you're gonna do just like a shelf sitter, it's ready to go. So, but yeah, that's how you do these. Like I said, it's the same technique no matter what shape you want to do. Same rules apply. Mix however much you think you need. Fill in your cavities in whatever suits you best, and then cure the cavities, and then do your detailing, do your final coat over the top, and you're good to go. So, I hope y'all enjoyed today's class. If you have any questions, if you're watching the replay, of course do the hashtag replay, and then that way I know it's a question I need to come back and answer. And if you complete this, please share with us. I really want the group to be more interactive. I know that I post, the posts throughout the weeks and things like that, but I would love to see what you're working on, even if it's not something we've learned in class. I just want to see what you're working on. Hey, this is what I'm working on this week. Or even if you're working on something and you're kind of stuck, say, okay, having a brain fart, don't know where to go. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to do. Please help. So just ask questions, post your videos, or post your projects of what's completed. Just make it interactive and a fun group. But I hope that y'all loved today's class. I love how this turned out, minus my air bubble, but it's all good.
Things happen.
It's okay. I am not gonna freak out over an air bubble. Whatever. So, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope you have fun. I hope you learned something new. Or if it's not new to you, maybe you learn something, new technique. I don't know. It's not a new project. But I hope you learned something new. I hope you have fun. I hope you're having fun in the group. And we will see y'all next Saturday for our live Zoom together. So, I'm excited. I want to see everybody. I think it'll be fun. So keep an eye out for the email for that Zoom link. I will post in the group. I will post that Zoom link as well. And if y'all have any questions, like I said on the video, hashtag replay, I'll know to answer it. And if you have any questions, it's not one of my videos, make a post and we'll get it answered. So y'all have a great rest of your weekend. I hope all the fathers have a wonderful Father's Day tomorrow. And happy Father's Day for any of the mothers who are also the father. And have a great week next week. And I can't wait to see y'all next Saturday. Bye, guys.